Good morning, boys and girls of the internet. Today is Tuesday, February 6th, 2018, vlog number 36. I was thinking I was going to do a different vlog for this morning. Normally I just talk about whatever's going on in my day. Earlier in the day, I woke up, went and had my shoot. It was good. So, enough about that. Anyways, I want to do a review. What kind of review? Recently I watched the television show, it was a Fox show, it was a Fox show called The Orville. This is a Seth MacFarlane produced and starred in show. You might know Seth MacFarlane from, he made Family Guy, he makes American Dad, he made the short-lived Cleveland show, he also made movies Ted 1, Ted 2, and A Million Ways to Die in the West. Very accomplished, singer. He loves Broadway type singing and whatever else. Anyways, I'd wanted to watch The Orville when it was on television on Fox, when it had broadcast, because I had it recorded. But I never got a chance to. But then I saw Hulu had it, all the episodes. So I went and I just watched it, here and there. And I finally finished it a week ago. Let me just say it's a pretty decent series. I was expecting, I don't know what I was kind of expecting. I was thinking with Seth MacFarlane, it was going to be a lot more slapstick and cartoonish in tone. I mean, this is a live action show, very Star Trek-esque. But I just thought he was going to make it a lot more comedic and slapstick. Now, it is a comedy. It does have comedic elements, but it also has very serious elements, too, which I was surprised about. So it's very much... It is like an alternate to Star Trek, just with some comedy thrown in here and there. They don't delve too deep into comedic elements, but sometimes in the opening parts or a few minutes, they'll play off a joke. They'll make a reference to that joke here and there throughout the show. But for the most part, it's a pretty serious show. And it has like Star Trek, it has a universe. It has its own built-in world where, it's far in the future. Earth is this united planet, where everybody kind of, there's apparently no wars with humans or anything. There's alien races. There's they call it what do they call it, the Union, and it's pretty much like a federation of planets. It's all the good guy alien races are kind of banded together in the Union. And on the ship that Seth MacFarlane, his character, he gets to be the captain of. Of course, there's, just like Star Trek, there's various races of creatures, and they're all pretty well thought out creatures. They're a lot of them are pretty unique. Some are pretty generic. One of them was pretty funny. He's consistently funny. He's pretty much like a blob. He's literally just like a gelatinous blob that can talk. And apparently I don't think you can kill this thing, because in the first episode, one character runs right through him and pretty much cuts him in half with his leg. He's like, "Oh, sorry, man." He's like, "Oh, it's okay, I'm good," and he just goes back together. And the gelatinous blob, not to give a joke away because it's an ongoing joke, is that he constantly hits on the ship's doctor. Ship doctor is this female, and he always wants to go out with her. And it's such a weird, combination of, it was human female doctor, and a blob wants to go out with her. Anyways, what I liked about the show is that it did have a grounding in kind of reality. And I know Seth MacFarlane himself, he's he's comedic and stuff, but he's very logic oriented, and he has affinity towards science. Remember, he also co-produced Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson. So he is very scientifically aimed, and that's what I kind of liked about it, is that a lot of the science they showed in the series weren't too far outside the realms of possibility. I mean, yeah, they don't go into detail of explaining things like how they go through, warp space, light speed, however they want to call it. There's another time when they kind of find a dimensional rift, and they go into like a 2-dimensional space. That I don't know if that has grounds in physics, but the way they kind of explained it sounded like it kind of made physics sense in that type of way. It was weird. There's also, of course, just like a good Star Trek type of show, there's also the bad guy alien race. Now, this kind of goes into what I'm going to talk about. This show does have some political leanings to it. I want to say political leanings. I say that it kind of, you notice it only because of the way our current political landscape kind of is, where things are if it's like one side or another in political sense, you notice it. Like if things are down the middle, you don't really notice political stances. But this show is most definitely, and I would say, like Star Trek before it, most definitely a progressive show. It's a lot of what everybody say, liberal type of ideas in it. A lot of progress, like, of course, Earth and the world around it. Everybody gets along. It's all one world. As far as you can tell. They don't have money, just like in Star Trek. They did away with money because they don't need it. In fact, I think there was a passing mention in one of the episodes that ever since they got the technology to pretty much produce anything with this I think they call it a replicator, almost like what Star Trek has. Of course, you don't need money. If you can make anything with a device that just makes anything out of nothing, it just kind of gets, I'm assuming it takes whatever particles around to just conform, makes it into anything. I mean, they get drinks out of it, they get food, they get clothes, anything. You don't need money. You can just make whatever you want. So, of course, they do away with money. You do away with money, you don't have capitalists, you don't have greed. People are always going to be greedy. There's people always going to have, but that's neither here nor there. In the world, they don't have that type of political system. And, of course, since they're in contact with many dozens of, probably hundreds of alien races, they have to be accepting and tolerant of other races and cultures. Now, of course, a lot of right-wing people would hate that. Not saying everybody that's on the right wing is, racist or anything, or xenophobic, bigoted. I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying that as of the current political climate in America, 2018, it is very torn. People are kind of seeing, a left-leaning shift towards globalism, and they don't want that. They want America first. We're not going to get to Star Trek in that frame of mind. We're not going to be a civilization that does away with religion, or we're not going to get past our differences in where we come from, how we were raised, what country we were from, if we continue being that way. You look at Star Trek, everybody gets along, for the most part, because it's a very progressive system. It's not a conservative system that they have. And I think very much that as we go into the future, you have to have a little more progressive ideals. Maybe there's a guy like waiting for me to park. Anyways, what is this guy doing? Anyways, I see a guy in my rearview mirror. I don't know what he's doing. It looks like he wants to steal my parking spot while I'm sitting here wasting my gas. Anyways, to continue, what was I? You have to have some kind of progressive ideas, otherwise we're going to destroy each other. We're going to destroy ourselves, and that's not good for anybody. You have to sit down and have diplomacy and realize that everybody on this planet, as far as we know, we're the only beings, that we're ever going to meet. So why don't we get along? And so that's kind of what they always kind of have in like Star Trek type shows. And in the Orville, it's everybody's trying to get along. Now, like I said, there's an alien race that is obviously the enemy, who are outside of the Union. What do they call them? The Krill, I think they call them. Now, this race of Krill, one of the things that they imbue in their attributes that they figure out, like, at the beginning, they kind of talk about the Krill as something that they haven't come around into Union space for a long time, and they don't know much about them. There's an episode where they kind of infiltrate. They find a Krill ship, and they infiltrate like a larger Krill ship, and they kind of try to learn about them. And you quickly learn that they're a very, very religious culture. I'd almost say somewhat Islamic in nature. Those are the parallels I kind of drawn to it. They were very much believing that everything almost like any religion, that they're in the right. Everybody outside of their culture and their race are evil and needs to be destroyed. What does that sound like to you? I mean, I don't want to project again on Islam as a whole. There's a lot of really good Muslims out there, but when you're on the extremist side of things, results speak for themselves. We see it. We're fighting it every day. We've been as Americans, we've been fighting in Afghanistan for 17 years now. Almost 18 years. And that's the climate we're in. So, anyways, yes. The show pretty much has... Now, they're not... The series isn't very long right now. It's only one season. And you only really had, like, 2 big run-ins with the Krill race. So they're not, like, a big recurring enemy. But they're there, of course. And... So yeah, you kind of draw those parallels. There's other episodes in there, and I'm pretty sure, like, when I was watching it, I was all like, if I was watching this with some of the people I know that are more conservative biased, more right leaning, they would have problems with the show. I could just see it, because they talk about things that are kind of relevant. There's an episode where they're talking about gender. And like gender norms and gender, conformality. Because there's a race in there, not to give any spoilers, I mean, you're going to find this out if you watch anyways, that there's a race in there that are 100% male. But then you find out that females in that race are born sometimes, but immediately, as soon as they're born, because of their culture, they instantly perform, a surgical procedure on them to make them male. And they just do that, and so like, it kind of becomes a big thing in that episode. There's another episode that kind of deals with religion too, where they find some ancient ship. That has, like, you go inside of it and it's kind of like a world ship. As you're inside of it, it just looks like you're standing on a surface of a planet, Of course, it has like edges because of the edges of the ship, and it's really huge. But in it, it just looks like a regular like landscape of like, you know, you got grass, you got trees, you got rocks. But there's people living in there. They even got a city in there. And these people have forgotten their ways. Basically, this ancient ship has been lost for like 1,500 years or something like that. And they lost their past because like there's something wrong with they can't access. They didn't even know that they're actually on a ship. They thought they were on as this is their world, and they had like a religion, and if you didn't believe in it, you got stoned to death, pretty much. So it was a pretty. They inject things like that here and there in the show, just like how Star Trek did. Star Trek did the same thing, so it's not doing anything different. Overall, I did like the show. I'm not going to go too much into other details of some of the other episodes. There's one character in there I want to find out who the actress is. She plays this little cute like chick that she's on the bridge. She's like the security specialist on the bridge, and her character is that she's like 10 times stronger than comparatively to a human. But she's like this little cute thing. She has like these lines on her face and stuff because she's an alien. I want to find out who the actress is because she's cute as a button. I'll just Google her or something. But yeah, overall I do like the show. I don't know. I'll have to look up to see if they're going to do a second season. I hope they do, because I will definitely watch it if there is a second season. So there are some things that they could probably do right in the show. Like, for example, I think the actual design of their ship alone is kind of goofy because it has a weird like design that doesn't make any sense. It just looks spacey, and not only that, it's not a very big ship, but yet it seems like it has more space and more rooms in it than they let on. Like, it looks bigger from the inside than it does on the outside. That was a Doctor Who thing. So I don't know. That's my one qualm is like the design of the ship itself. Also, I do like the special effects in the show. Special effects are pretty good. They have very good CG of the like space battles and stuff, and like spaceships flying around and whatnot. Other than that, they had pretty minimal use of CG when they're in the inside. It's all live action, practical sets and stuff. So yeah, I it's a pretty positive show. I recommend watch it. Be aware of its progressive political leanings. If you care about that. If not, if you don't care about politics at all, you probably won't even notice it. It'll just be, if you like a Star Trek type of show, it'll just be right up your alley. There's a couple parts in there that make me actually laugh out loud. Some of the other jokes kind of fell flat or weren't all that funny at all. But yeah, I like that show. This review is getting kind of long, so I will wrap it up here. So I will talk to you all later. I'm trying to think of another subject to talk about tomorrow, but I totally forgot when I was in the middle of talking about it. So anyways, I'm going to go home. I need to stop by the store. Everybody have a good day. I'll talk to y'all later. I love you.